For 30 years, Africa has been absent from Formula One. No roaring engines, no sold-out grandstands, 3 decades of silence. A continent with millions of passionate fans, but not a single race to call its own. But that's about to change. 2 nations are locked in a high-stakes battle to bring F1 back to the continent. One has a history with the sport, a legendary track, and a fan base that never gave up hope. The other has money, political backing, and a bold vision for the future. Both are on the clock and up against billion-dollar deals that could change everything. One needs to rebuild its historic track. The other must convince the world it can and deserves a place on the calendar. This episode will bring clarity on South Africa and Rwanda bids for an F1 race. The last Grand Prix on the continent took place in 1993 at South Africa's Kyalami circuit. The historic event, won by Alain Prost in a Williams Renault, was meant to signal a new era for motorsport in South Africa. However, financial struggles, infrastructural challenges, and shifting priorities led to the race's quiet disappearance from the global stage. Since then, Africa has remained the only inhabited continent without an F1 race, a glaring omission in a sport that prides itself on global reach. Over the years, pressure has been mounting for Formula One to return to Africa, and leading the charge is Lewis Hamilton. The 7-time world champion has been very vocal, arguing that Africa's absence from F1 is simply unjustifiable. Other F1 drivers and officials have echoed this sentiment. Most importantly, the FIA President Mohammed bin Sulayem. He has acknowledged the need for motorsport to pay more attention to Africa and has expressed support for the return of Formula One to the continent. With the sport enjoying a surge in popularity, particularly among young African fans, the demand for an African race has never been higher. But despite the enthusiasm, bringing F1 back to Africa is not a simple task. The current calendar is already packed, with a record 24 races scheduled across 5 continents. Liberty Media, Formula One commercial rights holder, has prioritized expansion into lucrative new markets, often favoring financial incentives over historical significance. Miami, Las Vegas, and Saudi Arabia have demonstrated that. For an African nation to secure a race, it must present a compelling financial package and show a strong commitment to infrastructure and long-term investment. The competition is fierce, and entering the calendar means either replacing an existing race or negotiating a rotational slot with another venue. Initially, South Africa was the clear frontrunner to host an African Grand Prix. With a rich F1 history and the iconic Kyalami circuit, it seemed like the obvious choice, but Rwanda emerged as an unexpected challenger to South Africa's bid. President Paul Kagame formally announced his country's bid in 2024, positioning Rwanda as a modern, forward-thinking alternative to South Africa. But just as the battle between South Africa and Rwanda was heating up, another name entered the fray: Zanzibar. The island, better known for its white sandy beaches and historical sites, stunned the motorsport world by unveiling a bold bid to host an F1 Grand Prix. Backed by the Zanzibar Investment Promotion Authority, the proposal includes a €500 million investment to construct the majestic complex, a 7 or 8 kilometer circuit, featuring a luxury facility, a marina, a world-class expo center, and a 1,000-room luxurious hotel. Zanzibar's bid is as much about tourism and prestige as it is about motorsport. The project is expected to break ground in 2025. However, many challenges remain. Unlike South Africa and Rwanda, Zanzibar lacks an established motorsport culture. Additionally, while the country has strong financial backing, it may struggle to match the well-developed infrastructure and government commitment already seen in South Africa and Rwanda. Without a proven track record in hosting major international sporting events, Zanzibar's bid remains an ambitious long shot compared to its more established competitors. The benefits of hosting an F1 race are undeniable. The economic impact of a Grand Prix can range from $100 to $300 million per event, generating thousands of jobs and boosting tourism. The United States Grand Prix in Austin, for example, has injected billions into the local economy since its debut in 2012, making it one of the most successful races on the calendar. South Africa, Rwanda, and Zanzibar all stand to gain significantly from the global exposure that comes with being an F1 host nation. Beyond economics, hosting an F1 race would be a statement of ambition and global relevance. Let's take a closer look at what the underdog, Rwanda, is proposing. On December 13, 2024, during the first FIA General Assembly hosted in Kigali, Rwandan President Paul Kagame made an announcement that sent shockwaves through the motorsport world. Rwanda was officially bidding to host a Formula One Grand Prix. The small East African nation, better known for its breathtaking landscapes and post-genocide transformation, was now throwing its hat into the ring to bring Formula One back to Africa. But if a Formula One return to the continent was ever real, South Africa would be the expected choice. For many, this was a classic David versus Goliath moment. Unlike most new F1 bids that prioritize urban street circuits, Rwanda's proposal is unique. The country aimed to build an entirely new circuit integrated with its natural landscape. The high-speed track, designed by former F1 driver Alexander Wirtz, would take full advantage of the country's hilly terrain and scenic lake views, creating a blend of natural beauty and technical racing excellence. Beyond aesthetics, sustainability is at the core of the plan. Rwanda has long positioned itself as an environmental leader, banning single-use plastics and investing in renewable energy. The proposed F1 circuit would align with Formula One's goal of achieving net zero carbon emissions by 2030. Rwanda wants not just to host a race, but to redefine what a sustainable Grand Prix could look like. One of the most compelling aspects of Rwanda's bid is the unwavering support from its government. The country's leadership has provided a clear and unified commitment to the bid. This contrasts with past bids from other emerging F1 hopefuls, where government backing often fluctuates based on economic conditions or leadership changes. Unlike many countries where motorsport remains a private or regional initiative, Rwanda's F1 dream is directly backed by the highest levels of power. President Kagame sees this bid as an extension of the country's larger vision to transform Rwanda into a global sports and tourism hub. The numbers back this strategy. In 2023 alone, Rwanda's tourism sector generated over $600 million, a 36% increase from the previous year. After securing sponsorships with Arsenal and Paris Saint-Germain, hosting a Formula One Grand Prix was the next step in Rwanda's efforts to attract global attention, boost its economy, and redefine its international image. The bid gained significant traction when FIA President Mohamed Ben Sulayem publicly endorsed Rwanda as a serious contender. Despite its ambitious vision, Rwanda faces significant obstacles. The country has little motorsport history and no major racing culture or established fanbase. While Rwanda has successfully hosted high-profile events like the Tour du Rwanda cycling race, Formula One is an entirely different challenge. Infrastructure is another major hurdle. Rwanda has to build an FIA Grade 1 track from scratch. Estimates suggested the total cost of the project could surpass $270 million, and some critics question whether the country's economy can sustain such a massive investment. Then, of course, there are broader, more serious concerns. Some critics view the bid as an example of sports washing, arguing that Rwanda is using high-profile sporting events to improve its global image amidst ongoing human rights controversies and its recent open conflict with the DRC. This is significantly impacting Rwanda's bid to host a Formula One Grand Prix. The DRC's Foreign Affairs Minister has already written to F1's CEO urging the sport to end negotiations with Rwanda and rule it out as a potential host. In response, Formula One stated that it is closely monitoring the situation in Rwanda, indicating that the conflict is a factor in their decision-making process. This brings us back to the legacy bid of South Africa, which is quite a contrast. For decades, South Africa played a crucial role in the world of Formula One. The first official South African Grand Prix took place in 1962, and the country cemented its place on the F1 calendar. From 1967 to 1985 and 1992 to 1993, the legendary Kialami circuit became synonymous with speed, hosting 20 thrilling races. South Africa even produced a world champion, Jody Scheckter, who claimed the title in 1979. However, Kyalami's reign as Africa's premier F1 venue came to an end due to the apartheid regime, which led to the sport distancing itself from the country. After a brief return in 1992 and 1993, F1 disappeared from South Africa, leaving the continent without a race for over 3 decades. Today, Kyalami remains a key part of the nation's bid to bring Formula One back. The circuit, now privately owned, received a major facelift in 2015, bringing it to a Grade 2 standard. While it doesn't yet meet the Grade 1 requirements necessary to host a Grand Prix, the upgrades required are far less significant than building a new circuit from scratch. The track's history, its modernized facilities, and its central location make it a strong contender in South Africa's race to reclaim its F1 legacy. In an effort to return a Grand Prix to the country, the government has extended its bid submission deadline. Originally set for January 31st, this extension provides more time to secure financial and political support. The nation aims to raise $50 million to fund the bid, with sponsors such as Heineken and Red Bull being courted as potential backers. While this funding goal is ambitious, the actual cost of hosting a Grand Prix is likely to exceed this amount. Annual hosting fees alone range from $15 to $50 million, and track modifications could cost tens of millions more. Kyalami is the frontrunner, but not the only proposal on the table from South Africa. There is the Cape Town Street Circuit, with a 5.7-kilometer track winding around the scenic waterfront and DHL Stadium. This proposition capitalizes on the city's international appeal and established tourism infrastructure. The last proposition is the Wakanda City project. Yes, an ambitious plan to build a futuristic smart city in the Eastern Cape featuring an F1 circuit, movie studios, and theme parks. Each bid presents unique advantages, but also faces significant hurdles. Kyalami has history and an existing circuit on its side, while Cape Town offers an iconic location and potential global appeal. Wakanda City, though visionary, remains largely conceptual. South Africa's F1 ambitions face numerous challenges. While the South African government has shown interest, financial concerns and political bureaucracy have slowed decision-making. Now, with Rwanda and Zanzibar as serious contenders, if South Africa fails to act swiftly, the continent's long-awaited F1 return might happen elsewhere. As of early 2025, the decision still hangs in the balance. The deadline to submit bids is March 18th. Clearly, time is running out. So, who deserves to bring F1 back to Africa? Rwanda's bold vision, South Africa's legacy, or Zanzibar's wild bet? Drop your pick in the comments.